Hey everybody, happy Monday, pandemic Monday number 8, and I just finished a day of seeing patients, and I had the most interesting question today about someone who wanted to be antibody positive, but they were negative. And so I thought what I'd do tonight is answer your questions. Natalie, our social media manager, had went on social media and just asked for questions. So I have some. And then I'm taking a walk with my wife. I'm pretty excited about that. Kids are gone tonight, so date night. And, you know, one of the most interesting questions that came up in my practice today was someone got the antibody test. So the antibody test is becoming more widely available. It's both available at Quest and LabCorp, and most often, from my understanding, is it's covered by insurance. And I came back negative twice, and this person came back negative, and they were sort of bummed. They thought they had COVID-19. And I remember when my test came back negative, I was sort of bummed, although not really. This thing's wicked. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's no big deal. It's like the flu. It's not like any flu I've seen. I mean, we actually had an employee in one of our clinics who was young, 30 years old, who ended up on a ventilator for a month. So I think we need to be careful. I heard about COVID-19 parties. Get someone who's infected and then let's have a party. No. So anyways, I came up with the term antibody envy. So I'm a psychiatrist. I'm actually a classically trained psychiatrist, and I learned about penis envy from Freud. I mean, it's a very famous Freudian concept. And I haven't seen it once in the 40 years I've been a psychiatrist. And then when I started looking at the brain, I came up with the term brain envy, because that's what's the most important thing to have. You want to love and care for the 3 pounds of fat between your ears. And so love your brain. But now we have this thing, antibody envy, where people want the antibodies. And if you have had COVID and you have the antibodies, being able to donate blood would just be such an awesome thing, because if you donate your plasma, it may in fact help other people. Well, how exciting is that? But if you get tested and you're positive, then more likely you'll be able to be out in the public and interact with people, you know, obviously after it's gone, because then you won't be able to give it. And odds are, we don't know for sure, you won't be able to get it again. So I think that testing is really important, and we've made that available to all of our employees. And so, so let me get to your concerns and your questions. And so we're going to divide this into two things, concerns and questions. And the concerns are around my kids getting sick. And you've probably seen the news lately where there seems to be a syndrome of children who get it. It then attacks their immune system, and they can get something almost similar to the measles or something called Kawasaki's disease. And again, your best defense, your children's best defense is their own immune system. There was an article that was a professional article that was done on glutathione in a woman that was really having a lot of trouble breathing. And I remember when my dad had COVID-19, he had a lot of trouble breathing. So I wish I'd read this before he passed. But oral glutathione, 2,000 milligrams, really helped her breathing, like within an hour. And then someone had IV glutathione, which has been given, I know, a lot for people who have Parkinson's disease. And within a half an hour, he felt significantly better. It's a powerful antioxidant, as is N-acetylcysteine and vitamin C. So we're learning more and more how to quiet the inflammatory storms that are happening. But it's important. So the concern, my kids are going to get sick, that's why it's important. Even now, I hate the term social distancing, it's physically distancing. We want to be thoughtful and careful. Going back to work once allowed and being expected to function like normal. This is what I get all the time. What is normal going to look like? And I've said forever, normal is a myth, but it's going to be different. And the brain, excuse me, the brain hates change. And so flexibility is so important. This is why I want you to keep your brains healthy. Because with a healthy brain, you're more flexible. With a healthy brain, you make better decisions. And so whatever new normal is going to come, you'll be better prepared for it. So I've always told you, some anxiety is good. You need some anxiety so that you have forethought and good judgment, and you'll make the right decisions. Somebody's asking about vitamin C and vitamin D. I'm a huge fan of both of those. So worried about the future, concerned about family members, losing it and starting to share conspiracy theories. This is really important. Times like this, conspiracy theories go way up. And so being thoughtful, trusting the information sources you have is so important. I'm so sad I can't even see my family or even hug them. Boy, I know exactly what that is like. And I just know. So virtually hug them, text them, FaceTime with them. Think about what you can do, not just what you cannot do. And vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day would be a good dose. A lot of people say with vitamin C, increase the dose until you get a little bit of loose bowels and then begin to back off. But I think 1,000 milligrams a day is a good start. And if you feel like you're getting sick, ramp it up to maybe 3,000 milligrams a day. The isolation is the worst part for so many people. And that's why you want to be connected virtually as much as possible. I mean, this week we're planning the memorial service, and it's going to be on Zoom. I mean, we'll have our intimate family close, but we're still going to do it, and it's still going to be special, and it's still going to be important because we can do it. My freedom is being taken away. Boy, I get that. I really understand how, this balancing act between trashing the economy or having perhaps 100,000 more people die or 500,000 more people die. And I think about this all the time. What's the economic fallout, which will then go to the mental health fallout versus the illness, and all of these things are just something for us to think about. But if you have a better brain, you're going to make a better decision, and you're going to be able to come out of this in a better way. I mean, I know we think this is such a unique time, but if you think about World War I, World War II, the pandemic in 1917 and 18, or as C.S. Lewis said, when the plague visited London almost every year, you begin to put this in perspective. And now, as opposed to the plague, we have FaceTime, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have all the things. We have so many more things to stay connected. Focus on what you can do rather than what you can't do. And yes, I understand people are tired of virtual meetings, but let me tell you, they were just tired of meetings before. It's like people at work, they always are complaining about something. That's why I start every day with today is going to be a great day, even during a time of grief and trauma, and I end every day with what went well today. I want you to try that, little tiny habits, the smallest thing you can do today that will make the biggest difference. There are dozens of them in my book, The End of Mental Illness. Start every day with today is going to be a great day. End every day, what went well today, just to keep your mental hygiene up. It's as important as washing your hands. Your children's mental health is more problematic in isolation, and it's true. But what children respond to is routine. And the best thing you can do for your child, the number one best thing you can do for your child is manage your own mind, is mental hygiene. Children are like violins, and they play the stress of their parents. There's a question about my hair is severely falling out since this started. Could it be stress and anxiety? Absolutely could. When you get stressed, I don't know if that's what happened to me. I think mostly it was my grandfather on my mother's side. But around each little hair follicles are muscles. And that's why your hair can stand on end when you get anxious or stressed. And if you're tight, if your muscles are tight, it can actually choke off the blood supply. And your hair can fall out. Now, it can also fall out if your thyroid's not right. And one of the hard things about the pandemic, but now that's beginning to loosen where you can, feel you can go to the lab and get blood tests and things like that. It can also be your hair's falling out, or you have a selenium deficiency. And when hair starts to fall off, for example, a side effect of one of the medications I might prescribe, I give people selenium, and that helps. Thank you. Bald is sexy. I like that a lot. So how do you best support an alcoholic during a pandemic? I have a book, Feel Better Fast and Make It Last. And whenever you talk to someone who's there's a substance abuse problem, write down what you see, so that when you talk to them about it, you're not calling them names, you're an alcoholic. You're saying, Billy, I'm really concerned because when you drink, these are the things I see that happens, and that worries me for you. And initially, they may just blow you off. You don't want to ruin the relationship. And then give them alternatives, other things they can do when they feel bad. And so, how do you define an alcoholic or a drug addict? If you drink or use drugs and it gets you into trouble, either with your health, your relationships, your work, your money, or the law, if you drink or use drugs and it gets you into trouble with any of those things, and then you do it again, it's like you don't learn, and the substance has taken away your good sense, your judgment. And so if you drink and then you've acted really badly in front of your spouse or your children, and then you do it again, which means you're not learning, then I'm concerned that, okay, now I'm going to label that as a problem. Suggestions for OCD during COVID-19. So you want to be appropriately anxious, not ritualistically anxious. So OCD is you have to do it, where appropriate anxiety, it's in your best interest to do it, but you do not feel compulsively driven. I wash my hands maybe 6-8 times a day. If you're doing it 30 or 40 times a day, you're going to wear yourself out. Plus, people aren't talking about toxic products. You should all download the app Think Dirty. It's not what you think it is. It allows you to scan all of your personal products, and it tells you on a scale of 1 to 10 how quickly they're killing you. So things like phthalates and parabens, fragrance. It's so important. Whatever goes on your skin goes in your body and affects your body. What's your favorite meals you've eaten during quarantine? So many. I learned how to brine fish. I'm so proud of myself. Just never had time. I made a rub for tri-tip steak. Loved that. The girls have made healthy chorizo. That was really great. Tana's made some spectacular meals, salads with roasted vegetables and protein. She did a rack of lamb that was spectacular. What do you recommend for post-concussion memory issues? If you ask me, hey, Daniel, single most important thing you've learned from 160,000 scans is mild traumatic brain injury ruins people's lives, and nobody knows about it because they don't know that playing football when they were in high school actually caused them to be irritable and addicted as adults because of the concussions. I think the best way to rehabilitate a concussion is don't get another one. So be thoughtful and careful. A multiple vitamin with high doses of B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, and a brain boost that works in multiple ways. It's exactly what I did in our NFL study. And then after the pandemic, hyperbaric oxygen therapy can work. And you also want to make sure you don't have the Irlen syndrome, which is light sensitivity. and depth perception problems, headaches, learning issues. If any of those are common, it's very common after a traumatic brain injury. Go to Irlen, IRLEN.com, take some of the self-tests. Amazing how helpful knowing you have that syndrome, and then the treatment, which is simple, it's just colored filtered lenses. What can we do to check we are staying mentally healthy during quarantine? Ask yourself if your routine is growing your life during quarantine or if it's shrinking your life during quarantine. So many of my patients are sort of split. About half of them are actually thriving in quarantine because they're like, I have more time than I've ever had before. And so they're working on getting physically healthy, mentally healthy. They're learning something new. My niece and I have been playing table tennis every day for a half an hour, and she's so much better 4 weeks into it. And so building a skill. So seeing this not as the world has stopped, but now I have more time. What am I going to do with the extra time that I have? Am I going to grow my life or am I going to shrink my life? How do I deal with my family during the pandemic? I feel my mental health is worsening. So many people, like today, so many people called our call center with anxiety and depression and addictions. So if you're really struggling and you need help, go to amenclinics.com, call the phone number, fill out one of the form fills, we'll get back to you. It's so important to not neglect your mental health. When is the pandemic going to end? I don't think anybody knows. I think we need to be ready to sort of do this for a while. And, people are hoping they're going to find a medicine, and there are a couple of medicines that may work. They're hoping for a vaccine, but, we still don't have an AIDS vaccine. And I was on the forefront of the AIDS epidemic in 1982. I was drawing blood on AIDS patients, completely freaked out at the time, freaked out that I would stick myself after I stuck them. And quite frankly, we don't know. But your best defense is your immune system. And part of your immune system is the mental hygiene that we have been talking about. My anxiety gets the best of me. How do I ease going back to normal? And your anxiety getting the best of you is normal at now because it's an anxious time. So you don't want to be watching the news every day. Watch it for like a half an hour a day or read online for about a half an hour a day, and then go about making your life work, and then have anti-anxiety practices, diaphragmatic breathing. If you scroll down my page, I have the 2-minute anxiety exercise, hand warming. Just imagining warm things in your hand, actually relaxation exercise, listening to music that soothes you. Now is a great time to do meditation, hypnosis. BrainFit Life, our app, mybrainfitlife.com, we have hypnosis audios, meditation audios, music that can be just so helpful. Small doses of antidepressants, it's not the first thing I'd think about. If you're sad, I'd be thinking about a multiple vitamin fish oil. I'm a huge fan of Happy Saffron to help boost your mood. I would try simple things first. Make sure you don't have a thyroid problem during this time. There are medical causes of mood issues. But if you're taking antidepressants and they work for you, now would not be a time to go off. But make sure you're doing your therapy. Now, almost everybody's doing virtual therapy, which just works so well together with, brain healthy habits. And I hope all of you will pick up the end of mental illness and you'll go, how do you get your brain healthy? Or how do we end mental illness? People go, oh, that's such a big promise. Yeah, because we need to, one, stop calling these things mental illnesses, call them what they really are, brain health issues that steal your mind, and work really hard to get your brain right. Somebody asked about ashwagandha. I'm a huge fan. We actually have ashwagandha in our focus and energy supplement because it helps calm you down and helps you focus. So I'm not a fan of sugar. I am a fan of pickleball, anger outbursts. Write down your goals. What do you want in your relationship? So who do you get angry with? Your spouse, your children? Write down your goals. Does getting angry fit with your goals? Because I always ask myself before I do something, before I say something, does it fit? If I say this nasty thing to my wife, does it fit my goals? I mean, my goals with my wife are really clear. I want to have a kind, caring, loving, supportive, passionate relationship with Tana. And if I act like a jackass, I'm not getting what I want. So know what you want. Don't let your blood sugar go low. Have protein and healthy fat at every meal, because when blood sugar goes low, people become more irritable, more likely to say something or do something they shouldn't do. Learn how to breathe. So when you're starting to get really angry, take a big breath, hold it, and then take 6 seconds to blow it out. Do that just a couple of times, and then just ask yourself, if I say this, does it help me? If I do this, does it help? Like, I couldn't get the girls to just, when they made a dish, put it in the dishwasher. Don't load up the sink. I'm not everybody's slave. And, and I found it and I was starting to get irritated. And I could have just let them have it, but how's that helpful? And was it yesterday on Mother's Day? I'm like, so what'll it take to get you three, if you make a dish, to just put it in the dishwasher? What will it take? And it's like, oh, he's mad. And I really wasn't mad. What I wanted to do was have them help me solve the thing I was irritated about. What will it take? And they generated all these options, including taking away their allowance. And there were no dishes this morning in the sink. I love that. And so I'm just brainstorming with people, what will it take for us to cooperate, which I really liked. Okay, well, that's probably enough for tonight. I wish you an awesome night. I'll try and be here again tomorrow. My dad's service is on Sunday. Pray for me, pray for my family. We are grateful for all of the love you have sent. Thanks so much.